We got a call this evening from a farmer about 3 miles south of town, and he needs some help.
It's about 91 degrees, hot, windy. I'm swinging the camera today, and we'll help him out. That went well for the Matt's Off-Road Recovery reference. Wheat harvest 2025 has begun in Stafford, Kansas, and it is very hot and very windy. Dad called this evening and said he could use a hand.
Needs a relief captain.
And guess who's stepping up to the plate?
I didn't know I was when I said I would go out.
Well, we've kind of talked about this.
I thought I was going for a ride, and now I'm driving.
Well, truth be told, I've only driven it a couple times, and it's been 8 years. So
in all honesty, I probably have driven the tractor more than you have, even though it was when I was young.
Yeah, you think you were sitting on Daddy's lap.
Exactly.
But no, we've talked about it. I'm just going to say it doesn't take a penis to drive a tractor, right, honey?
No, it doesn't.
But yeah.
But there's a lot of penises out there who are going to grumble about the fact that I'm driving.
But no, you've done a lot of stuff, and you know the basic fundamentals of how to load a trailer, to keep your tongue weight, and then all you got to do is line up your distance away from the combine and match the speeds and do it. And I've spilled grain, so no, I think you will do just fine.
Wish me luck.
Closing the gate. Oh shit. Oops.
Hello. Are you showing me the tractor? You? Yeah. Good evening from the cozy comfort of my RV, currently parked in Stafford, Kansas, my hometown where I was born. I'm going to share a little voiceover with you for our Harvest Video 2025. You can see I got to drive the grain cart this year, but I failed to remember to turn the radio down. So I'm going to tell you this story in retrospect tonight. It might look like I just jumped right in and headed over to pick up grain from Caleb, driving one of Dad's combines. In actuality, I did have about a 7 to 10 minute tutorial ahead of this with Dad. He helped me remember how to utilize the PTO, let me know how the grain cart was hooked up with the system inside so I could open and close the auger and also move the auger in and out. You can see I really didn't have much time of keeping pace with Caleb before we got to the end of a row, so then it was just a static drop of grain, and I kind of got off easy here because keeping pace is definitely the most challenging part of driving the grain cart. So while Caleb's all set to resume cutting, I have a couple of minutes before I'm due to head over to Dad's combine, and I did take a minute of that downtime to grab a few pics of the setting sun. There are not too many sights that are as stunning as a sunset over the plains in the Midwest, especially at harvest with the grain. It's really special. In case you're not familiar with what happens at wheat harvest, what you're seeing right now is the combine that Caleb is driving goes along in rows and cuts the wheat out of the field, pulls it into the combine, separates the seeds from the rest of the stalk, brings that up into the hopper, and then the combine has an auger just like the grain cart does. They swing that boom out, drop the grain into the grain cart. When I get a full grain cart, I take it over to the semi, offload that grain into the semi, and the semi driver then takes it to the co-op, where it is stored until they decide to sell it. So just a little bit of Harvest 101, in case you are not quite familiar with how the equipment works or how the process happens. My dad could go into a lot more detail. Maybe we'll do one of those videos one day. I was just pulling up to alongside Dad's combine when we heard over the radio some news coming from the other side of the world.
The United States has dropped bombs on nuclear targets in Iran, striking 3 sites. Right to ABC's Stephen Portnoy in Washington.
The announcement came out of post on social media. The president said he had completed a very successful attack on the nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Hezbollah.
I will tell you, I remember very clearly that evening the surreality of being in that tractor in the middle of that field, watching the sunset, participating in capturing grain that feeds the planet, and hearing about the dropping of bombs on the other side of the world. It was just the sheer contrast of it. It couldn't possibly be lost on you. Now back to farming and harvesting.
Run the big fleet I am. Come on back closer. See that track right there? Put that pump here, right? A little bit further under that track. Right about like that. Now run the same speed I am.
You can kind of see here, this is my first pass really where I actually need to keep pace with the combine on the move and capture grain.
Come here a little bit closer. Slow down. You gotta run at constant speed, Becky. What gear are you in?
12.
Shift down to about 10th or 9th.
It wasn't easy to figure out how to do that. I set my pace at a specific speed, and then the combine will slow down and speed up to fill the grain cart evenly for you. That allows you to really just focus on maintaining a straight line, not running into the header, which I never did, luckily, and letting the combine, because they can see into your grain cart, fill everything up evenly. But on this very first night, I felt like I needed to slow down if I saw the auger go farther back, because I thought that meant the combine was slowing down. So it's just a little bit of a learning curve there. But it was very stressful that night for me trying to figure that out. Surprisingly enough, from visiting with other people who drive grain carts around here, offloading into the semis did not bother me at all. I felt very comfortable lining up the auger with the semi-trailer, filling it with grain. The hardest part was making sure you didn't overfill it and being able to see out of the tractor when it did get full, and stopping the auger in time for it not to overflow. But otherwise, it really was the easiest part of the job, in my opinion. If you haven't been around for very long and heard my bio in the past, I thought I'd take a quick minute to share a little bit about my background. What made it so I could hop in that tractor and take off after 7 minutes of reminding me how to run the PTO? Well, first of all, I've been riding in that tractor since before I could walk. Maybe not that exact one, but a green tractor. And I grew up in a family on and off the farm where it didn't matter if you were a girl, you drove everything. You towed the trailers, you backed the boat into the lake, you drove the big equipment on the farm, and didn't really give it a second thought. So I started really early with that. Even after I left the farm as a young child, it continued on in my life. Otherwise, and as an adult, I'm a little bit of an adventure bug. So I spent the better part of 5 years of my career in Alaska flying out to remote villages in tiny airplanes to provide healthcare services. We've driven all over the world, traveled all over the world. I've been to, I think it's 56 countries now. So not much that I'm afraid of, except for heights, in case you wanted to know. But I'm comfortable hopping in the tractor or any other big rig, and I'm happy to learn on the fly and try and fail until I get it right. So now that you know a little bit more about me, we'll head back to harvest. This first time that I transferred to the semi from the grain cart, Dad was right there alongside me and coached me through it a little bit over the radio. That definitely helped, and I was able to have him remind me of which one opened the auger and which one swung the auger out so I didn't do the wrong thing at the wrong time, and whether to open it and then turn the PTO on or turn the PTO on and then open it. It's all about doing it in the right order. By the time I had finished making that first transfer to the semis, Caleb was almost back to the west end of the field, and rather than run down and try to catch up with him and then just end up at the end of the field with him anyway, I waited there for a couple of minutes, and upon his arrival we just made another static transfer. So again, a little easier than the keeping pace version. As you can see, we're losing daylight and we're getting one of those amazing Midwest sunsets. Perfect lighting for capturing some drone footage, and I know Ben was having a great time doing so because I saw the drone everywhere. Now we're headed back over to Dad to meet up with him for another rolling transfer. Dad definitely helped coach me along a little bit on keeping pace, getting a set speed. He would tell me what speed he was sitting at, so then I got a sense of what speed I should try to accomplish by the time I got to him. One of the challenges with this was Dad drove at one speed, Caleb drove at another. Dad's auger was a different distance from the combine than Caleb's auger. Dad's header was set a different way than Caleb's, so it stuck out further or not as far as the other. And you really had to accommodate the fact that you were taking transfers from two different combines and really be remembering and thoughtful of the fact that they were different, very different. They're different ages, and so they have completely different settings or sizes, I should say, not settings. But that was another factor to get used to and to take into account as I started to get a little more comfortable with the grain cart. Probably the hardest part of offloading to the semis was how uncomfortable it is physically to turn your neck that way and to be able to see over the edge of the semi and watch for the grain to appear above it, but then to quickly capture the auger and turn it off. And when you're first doing this, you're like, oh, what's it going to look like? What's it going to look like? Am I going to realize it? And so it's kind of stressful till you figure out, oh, okay, now I know what it looks like when the grain clears the top and you know when to stop it. I also learned to just keep that finger right on the PTO so that I could flip it off as soon as I saw that happen. But I will tell you, in this particular shot, my neck was killing me. If I have a weak spot in my spine, it's my cervical spine, and I was I was hollering for that. But I'm a tough girl, so I wasn't telling anybody, and I definitely wasn't stopping.
Well, it looks like things are going really well out there. And to be honest, I'm very excited and very proud for Rebecca stepping out of the comfort zone and getting behind the wheel of the tractor for the first time as an adult. Yeah, I love it. Luchi, how you doing back there, puppy? So I'm done flying the drone for the night. I've lost my light and I've got some really, really good footage. So lessons learned, don't risk losing really good footage. Another funny thing is we just did a vlog update. We've done some recording at this field before, but yeah, right there is where we got stuck and recorded that IceCo video. Well, I'm just going to hang out here in the air conditioning and listening to copyrighted music while they wrap up this field.
From an observer's perspective, all these years of watching harvest happen on the farm, I'll tell you that my favorite time of day is when the sun finally sets and the lights go on. There is this ethereal glow that takes over. The dust is flying from the grain and the lights are on and you get the reflections off of the golden field and it's stunning. On the flip side, being behind the steering wheel of the tractor, having those lights on and pulling up next to the combines when the wind picks up and starts blowing all of the dust out of the back of the combines right in your face, it makes for a little bit more of a challenge. Luckily, there's a moment when all of that dust finally clears and you realize, oh good, I'm not gonna hit the header. This is my first rolling pickup with Caleb, and I actually think it went fairly smooth. I did definitely have a hard time because he drove a different speed, so I had to figure that out. I wasn't expecting to need to change my speed or not realizing I would change between the two combines, so I was a little squirrely keeping a straight line. I got better at that later, but it was a lot to get used to. Everything changes as the lights as the sunlight goes down and the artificial lights take over. The wind was definitely blowing a lot, but we found our rhythm.
Headed your way, Dad.
Okay, just pull up underneath here and stop. Because in front of me there's mud and I need to get you back to the south right away so you don't get stuck.
Okay, will do. I see ya.
After picking up one more transfer from Dad, I headed back to the semis and transferred to the semi. You'll notice there's two sitting there. We don't always use both of them. This particular night we did. It's kind of nice to have both because one you can be filling while the other one's headed to the co-op. Then they bring the empty one back and pick up the full one. So it keeps things moving a little faster, but if you have a grain cart too, then Dad has indicated a lot of times they'll just use one semi because they can keep up on everything. So it really kind of depends on the day. After one more round of picking up transfers from the combines, I headed back to the semis to offload for the last time of the night. It's not that the weather stopped us, which does sometimes happen. It was the fact that the co-ops were closing that put a stop to the night.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
The hard-working woman.
Well, I didn't get fired, so that's good.
Yeah? Well, tell me about it.
God damn, that's a hard job.
Quite the juggling act, huh?
Yeah. Like unloading into the semis, easy peasy, which apparently is usually hard for people because they'll overflow it or they'll not get lined up right and dump grain on the ground, which I never did. But keeping pace with the combines is really hard. And they were both nice to me, but I'm sure they were cussing Blue Streak inside their combines a few times.
But it's your first go around.
Yeah, I haven't driven a tractor since I was
you know,
14 years old.
Like, Caleb grew up driving tractors.
Yeah.
And obviously your
Caleb
dad did too.
is the age I was the last time I drove a tractor.
Mhm.
And I'm 30 years his senior, so.
Well, awesome. Looks like you did a very good job on camera.
Oh, well, good. We fooled everybody then.
Let's close this out.
Thanks for riding along. I didn't kill anybody, I didn't hit anything, and I didn't break anything. As far as we know, the tractor made it back to its parking spot. So, hope you had fun riding along with us on a harvest evening. I'm gonna go home and take a shower and go to bed and take my contacts out because the wind's been blowing and I probably shouldn't leave them in. Good night. Are my boobs okay?
They look great.
They're there.
Well, sometimes they pop out of this
Oh.
one, so we always check.
They're good. Well, Dad, your daughter had the first driving lesson on the tractor since she was probably sitting on your lap as a little kid. How'd it go?
Good.
Engaging answer. I like it.
He wants to expand on it.
Oh, well, we had Grain Cart 101 yesterday. Took a lot of explaining.
A lot. It wasn't even 5 minutes.
Well, no, but on the radio and stuff.
Oh, well, yeah,
afterwards,
okay, yeah, that.
Little coaching here and there.
Yeah.
She caught on pretty fast.
Awesome.
I didn't wreck anything. I didn't hit anybody.
Well,
I
I
didn't
saw.
spill any grain.
Yeah, I saw Caleb spill a few loaves of bread.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
He's good at that.